Hey.
How's it going?
Okay, you guys, I put on a pair of jeans today and I'm regretting it. I gotta sit up
Felicia.
like this. If you are looking to lose weight, go try and put on a pair of jeans that you haven't worn in about 2-3 months. That'll get you eating a salad immediately.
Mm.
I
I'm a
don't
little
even know
worried
what
to put on
jeans feel
mine.
like.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I put a pair of shorts on yesterday that barely fit last year and do not fit this year. So we're going to change it on up. But segue shorts. Oh, by the way, Deanna's in here today. Amy's off today and the rest of the week. She's on a good, well-earned vacation. Let's take a look outside of what we're dealing with. Hot, sticky, gross day. Have you taken a walk outside yet, guys, or no?
I
Not
did. I
yet.
walked my dog earlier and I was dying.
It's gross. It is frizzy hair Monday. Temperatures are warm. We're going to be approaching near 90 degrees. And it won't stay sunny the whole day. We're going to start introducing some scattered storms to the area early afternoon, pretty widespread in terms of isolation. They're going to be just popping up here or there. More widespread in terms of it'll be more consistent later on this afternoon and evening. Slight chance these could be severe, especially with how much juice we have in the atmosphere. 89 will be your high. And this is what we're entering now. Sticky, hot conditions, really for the next 7 days. Tomorrow will be the quote-unquote coolest day of the bunch at 87. It does get more comfortable, though. So even though we are going to be at the 90s and on the mercury reading on the thermometer, the humidity levels will be lower later on in the week. So it should be a good 4th of July weekend in terms of weather. It looks a little bit drier in terms of rain, and also the humidity levels a little bit lower. But it is summer in Chicago, no doubt. Perfect time for the barbecue, right, Felicia?
Oh, yes, I got to get some plans.
Mm.
I don't have any plans yet, but we're going to work on that. We got plenty of time all week long to get something together. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
A heads up, though, as we talk about the barbecue, we're celebrating the Jam Backyard Barbecue. I caught your segue there, John. Thanks.
I was going to say, no,
I
you
was gonna
did.
say, wait a second, Felicia, the segue.
I gave it to you,
We
girl.
need your recipes, you guys. We need your recipes. So each of us, we're gonna pick up our favorite recipe. We're gonna whip it up, then we'll post the clips on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to get you guys ready for the weekend. So make sure you're emailing your summer go-tos at jamrealshy@wciu.com. Make sure you send it to us today. Send it to us today so we can get it on out, and you can check out some of the recipes already submitted on cw26chicago.com. I'm about to make mine today.
Mm.
All right, everyone, let's kick it off with some news. Big news out of the Supreme Court this morning as one of its conservative justices sides with liberals on a controversial case. Brandon Pope joins us with the latest. Hey, B.
Hey, it's been quite a few weeks for the Supreme Court. Scotus striking down Louisiana's controversial abortion law. Critics argue the law would have limited the number of clinics in the state to just one in the entire state. To just one in the entire state. The law actually required doctors providing abortions to have admitted privileges at a hospital within 30 miles of the clinic. It was a 5-4 decision. Chief Justice John Roberts actually sided with the court's liberal judges on this one, citing precedent from the court's ruling on a similar law in Texas a few years ago. Noticeably, this is the first abortion case that the Trump appointees, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, have oversaw. Trump campaigned on having judges that would overturn Roe versus Wade and have a heavy hand in abortion cases. So we're seeing an early taste of what that plays out with, and seeing John Roberts kind of leave the conservatives there to side with the liberals. And another case with less noise going on as well. The Supreme Court said it will not hear an appeal from 4 death row inmates seeking to block federal executions. The inmates argue the Trump administration's revised lethal injection protocol violates the federal law. The Attorney General, William Barr, he announced last year the government's going to carry federal executions for the first time in nearly 2 decades, and 3 are set to take place next month. So that is the latest from Supreme Court.
It's a huge, momentous decision for conservatives who are hoping to use rulings like this to peck away at the abortion Roe v. Wade law. I don't think anyone that has been eyeing the Supreme Court is all that surprised of John Roberts' move on this. He was joined the liberal justices on gay marriage, on Obamacare. People were wondering the abortion case, which way he'd go in this one. Definitely signals that the court is not ready to move to continue to peck away at Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, definitely.
Shocking stuff there. Thanks, Brandon.
Bye, guys.
Take care. All right, if you've been purging your house of clutter during quarantine, you're not alone. Let's welcome in Tony Moser, owner of Clean Chicago in Linwood. They've seen a huge spike in hoarding cleanups since the pandemic started, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. He is going to not only help out all of us in general, he's going to help out Felicia, who took some pictures of what she's hoarding, which I'm excited for as well. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us, Tony.
Good morning. How are you all doing today?
Doing very good. All right, so during COVID, you guys have seen a spike in hoarding, or I imagine?
So during the COVID, when it first started, actually the hoarding dropped off the face of our schedules altogether. There was no hoarding calls whatsoever. But since the hoarding is kind of tapered off now, and it's become a little side frame of what we do here as a company, as a disinfection company. But the calls have just they've doubled since last year. If I was to wait out since last season, this is our busiest season of the year. Is typically in the summertime. Everybody wants to get cleaned up. Everybody wants to be able to breathe fresh air. Live their life in their homes in a obviously a more clean and safe environment. Health and safety is pretty important, but this year was a little bit different when it took off. I mean, I was used to getting about 3 to 4 calls a day, maybe for hoarding, and I'm getting up to 7 to 8 calls a day.
Wow.
And on an average, I would do about 4 to 5 estimates per week. I did 12 last week. It's really taken off. And after paying a little bit of attention to it and some of the things that are being said by people, it's kind of, it opens your mind up a little bit when you walk into a hoarding home. And you're typically used to seeing people not wearing a mask or not, worried about their safety or their health, and they're dealing in situations that we can't even fathom sometimes, because the cognitive disorder is part of the hoarding thing, where something traumatic has happened in this person's life to lead them down this road. Nobody really wants to live in that kind of environment, and now you see them wearing a mask and gloves in their house, and they're worried about their own safety.
So why do you think you've seen twice as many calls?
To be honest with you, I think it's the fact that people don't want to be judged. I've had somebody say it to me already. I've had somebody say that I don't want to be looked at as infectious. I don't want to be looked at as I'm living unhealthy. And now the world is kind of transformed a little bit. It's layered a little bit different. Everybody's looking at is who's contagious and what are you transmitting, and what are you bringing to the table as far as health and safety. So these people, a lot of them are worried that, hey, somebody's going to know that I live unhealthy. I do have an unsafe environment. And what am I bringing to work with me? Or what am I bringing to my friends' groups? Or what am I bringing into society and, within the social, patterns of things? So I'm a little concerned about it, because a lot of people are doing it. They're jumping on board with, I want to get a cleanup right away. But they really haven't had any counseling of any kind or any therapy. I don't think that cleaning up is ultimately the 100% cure for everything, but I think cleaning up is a good start.
Tony, talking about cure to things, and obviously coronavirus, the COVID-19 season, the company itself, Clean Chicago, you guys have taken the responsibility, right, to disinfect and clean areas, offices. I watched a YouTube video that kind of mentioned a little bit on when you disinfect, when you spray something, even if it's Lysol or disinfecting spray, it's just not enough. And we're probably all doing it wrong. So talk a little bit about the process of going through those areas, those businesses, cleaning the virus and making it safer for employees.
Absolutely. So, we follow a mandated training. So we do a lot of training in-house with corporate, with our employees hands-on. We do a lot of in-house training here as far as an understanding of how to go about a disinfection. But when it comes to the disinfection portion, we've been doing disinfections for a long time. We just at a different level now. But when we go into disinfection, we follow the CDC guidelines. We look at everything as there's biofilms on things, there's things where people have touched, there's things you can't see. So we have to pre-clean everything. We pre-clean and wipe all the high touch points, all the door handles, the doors where people would touch. And you'll see those if you pay more attention to them nowadays. A lot of people pay attention. You can see the dirt marks from hands when you go into a store, or, on doors or on shelves or on counters. And we will go in and clean those thoroughly with a disinfectant / cleaner, but then we'll come back and we'll spray that surface and to make sure that everything on that surface is killed. So we wipe, like I said, we wipe off the biofilms, and that gets us down to the actual surface, and then we can focus on that disinfection. But we also monitor it with, ATP testing, where we'll actually test before we spray the disinfectant to prove that we cleaned the surface. Now we attacked the COVID-19 virus.
Hey, we got to see Felicia's junkie closet and the stuff that she.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, I didn't think we was gonna put it out there like that.
Well,
I got a card. I'm gonna send you a card.
Yeah, well, let's take a look.
Okay, let me explain, everybody.
Oh my, yes.
Why do they have to put the
But
picture
it looks
up
so
there?
organized. But it looks so organized.
Why did they have to put the picture up there with my name?
The only thing it's missing is a box to put it in.
Okay, so it doesn't still look like this, but the process, and I actually did have to get some help. So for anybody who's struggling just with clutter and stuff, we took everything out of all the boxes. So these are all, he's gonna be so upset. These are all Teddy's clothes.
Oh my
We
gosh.
took everything out so we could see it and sort it and go through it. And then, please take those pictures down because it's stressing me out. And then, so we'll be able to have like a donate pile, a trash pile, and then what we're going to keep. So clearly we could just have way too much stuff. And so I think, and I wouldn't consider myself like an issue with hoarding, but certainly an issue with clutter. Do you find this like a lot of people have an issue like this?
I do find a lot of it. America has buying power. They have the ability to get online, buy things. They have the ability to go to the store and buy whatever they want. I mean, there's options for people. We load things into our homes, but typically what happens with hoarding people, we all have some form of hoarding. Don't get me wrong. I have a toolbox full of stuff I don't need. I have a few little storage units full of stuff I don't need. I'm sure we could all clean out something, but it's 5% of the population. The people with a hoarding disorder, they get into a pattern where they just stop making decisions, and then what they do is they get overwhelmed by it, and they spend a lot of time outside of the home. And that time they spend outside of the home, they spend a lot of time shopping. They spend a lot of time buying things to make them feel good.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It never gets opened.
Yeah, I noticed that you need somebody from the outside to really put you in the mind frame of, do you need this or don't you need this? Is this helping you or is this not helping you? One thing I wanted to ask about how you do your services for hoarders. Do you connect these people? Because you mentioned how it's a cognitive disorder. Do you connect these people to some sort of help mentally and emotionally to try to overcome this?
Well, typically what we'll do is we'll line them with somebody local. We give them options. We give them 2 or 3 people that we might have looked at before that specialize in cognitive behavioral therapy. It's up to them to reach out to those people. And we used to keep somebody on staff, but everybody likes somebody different, and traveling sometimes is a little bit hard. We cover the full state of Illinois. So in saying that, people definitely need to be in tune with their disorder.
One of those people, we don't sure if it's a disorder, but another messy producer of ours went ahead and Lily, who's running the show right now. Let's take a look at, she had a rug that she actually had to bribe people to take. She had a shag rug and she put a sticker on it with $20. Put pity on my quarantine soul. She should have just given you the $20. You all could have taken care of this stuff.
See what I'm saying? The opportunities are endless. So, I mean, this is...
That's great. Well, I think it's an important time. I think a lot of people right now are, revisiting themselves a little bit on the inside, not only their homes, but themselves too. So you guys are able to help on out. Tony, thanks so much for joining us here today.
It was great talking to you. Thank you very much.
And you can find out more about SteriClean at SteriClean.com and on Facebook at Hoarders SteriClean Chicago.
Okay, help out a lot of people there. Let's keep it moving. There's some other conversations that need to be had. Our next guest is Dr. Shauna Springer. She is a psychologist who has worked with hundreds of veterans suffering with PTSD. She's actually here to tell us about data from SARS survivors that could point to potential PTSD for people who survived COVID-19. Dr. Springer, thank you so much for joining us.
Morning, Felicia. It's good to be here.
Yes, I want to get a better idea of the connections between PTSD, COVID, what you've seen in the past for other similar situations that we've been in as a country.
Right. Well, what we know is that in a study of 65 studies looking at other coronavirus, SARS and MERS, about 30% or a third developed PTSD in the post-illness phase. So I think it's a big problem, and I'm anticipating a big wave of need in terms of trauma care.
Yeah, and not only obviously a big need, because if it's 1/3 of people that were suffering from SARS or the coronaviruses, that obviously did not impact as many people as we're seeing right now. What's the timeline of this? Is this immediately after people recover? Is it anytime? Could people be seemingly okay for a while and then it kind of creeps up on them? What are we looking at here over the next months and years?
Well, it's a good point you make, John, because this is uncharted territory. So we don't know, what the lingering effects will be, but I know that anytime somebody has a brush with death potentially, or a new disease that we don't know about, the lingering trauma effects from that can last for years. Think about people who have survived cancer and other diseases that could have taken them out, and how long that effect can last in terms of trauma symptoms. So it may develop right away, or it may develop after some time as they reflect and think, am I now, not going to get this again? Or could I go through another bout of this? Or could someone I love have this?
Right. And speaking of that, doctor, for those essential workers who are in our lives, family members, friends, what can we do, or what should we be looking for in terms of knowing when the right time to know when to seek help would be for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think this is counterintuitive, but we shouldn't expect them to be resilient or heroes, because they're built a lot like our warriors, our war fighters. And so they're very good at controlling a chaotic situation. But we've gone from a situation where maybe there were 3 or 4 deaths a week in an ER unit to like 2 or 3 a day in some of our ER units. And so if you put somebody that's constructed like a warfighter in this kind of environment, and they're feeling helpless in that way, and they're losing so many people, the kind of trauma that they're experiencing is indescribable. So not expecting them to be heroes in the sense that, they should be able to weather this and not have an impact. I think we need to give them space to feel and express whatever they're feeling from the impact of this kind of trauma, and really just let them have a safe space to talk about where they're at.
So a lot of times when we look at PTSD and we assess and try to fix it, cure it, we're looking at it after it's already happened. Are there preventative measures that we can take now? I know you touched on it just a little bit, but I'm like, how can I avoid this?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's really hopeful to me is that we have found at Stella Center a really great model for treating trauma that fuses biological intervention with psychological intervention. There are things that we can do that are based on neuroscience, where we can give an injection of an anesthetic into the place where fight or flight happens, so that we can kind of reboot the adrenaline system, and then combine that with effective psychotherapy. And I've seen a lot of success with so many of the combat warfighters that I've served. So just knowing that there are things that we can do, that PTS is not a life sentence, that you don't have to live with it forever, and that there is recovery possible, is really important right now, I think.
Dr. Springer, we've been talking about, your studies with SARS survivors and anticipating what will happen with COVID survivors. But I wonder if, similar to like military experiences, we're all kind of in this. Do you anticipate PTSD from even people that did not get coronavirus, just from the general sense of fear and anxiety we have?
Yeah, very much. I mean, it's kind of hard to distinguish America from the front lines of battle, in the sense that a lot of people have experienced overwhelming anxiety, being kind of sheltered in place, and people have lost their jobs. They've lost their identity. They've lost the relationships that give their lives structure and meaning. And it's a lot like when military veterans come out of the military, there's a transitional trauma. And that's happened, as you said, across America to so many of us. So we are in trauma and trying to support others with trauma, which makes it such a gift when we listen with a radical acceptance of whatever someone else is feeling, and try to kind of support each other through this unprecedented time of challenge.
I think
Now,
it's so great that we're talking about this just because I think there are also a lot of people who are doing okay right now, but maybe for the future, you still need to be aware of what this looks like and how it could possibly manifest in your life.
Yeah, we may be headed into a second wave. And so, sort of watching this unfold, there are levels of being okay, as you said. But I think all of us have been impacted by this as a society, and there's been layers of trauma that we've had with division in society and just all of the different things that have come out recently that's been so impactful for us as a nation. So I do think awareness and thinking about how am I going to cope if this does, impact me more personally? And if I'm doing okay, how can I support those who are suffering right now? Can I make a plan to call, a rotating list of 10 people that I care about? Maybe think about the people who are isolated. How can I be a blessing to them? That's the way we can think in a way that I think will help us all get through this together.
now, doctor, I'm curious to know what type of reaction or conversations are you having with your clients? Is there still that I don't want to talk about it because I'm shy, or I don't want to admit that there is an issue or that I'm facing some type of problems? Or are people now a little bit more open? They're like, everyone is going through this. We see it happen. It's a little bit more normal to be feeling these certain, I guess, triggers, you can say. What are those conversations like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think people across America are feeling things that our military warfighters and veterans and their families have felt for many years, which is making it more normal, as you said, to talk about trauma and its impact on all of us. I find that people react to trauma in one of two ways. Typically, some of the patients that I have tell me that, hey, I've been through worse. I know what I'm capable of. I know who my tribe is. I know who supports me, and I can do this. And there are other people that have come through past trauma and they're still feeling like there's helplessness around what happened to them. And so the helplessness that they're feeling now becomes then exacerbated and they feel even more helpless. And so I think people can have two very different reactions to trauma, sort of like, here it goes again, right? Which some of us are going to feel if there's a second wave and we've been hit really hard by the first wave. And other people are saying, you know what, I've learned from this and I know how strong I am and I know I can get through this.
I mean, obviously, we kind of touched on it that the stigma of PTSD is going away, but some people still, when they deal with things that are going on in their own head, like to push it off for another day. What are the physical ramifications from not addressing a mental issue? I mean, I know physiologically, stress on your brain has got to manifest itself some way in your body.
It definitely does. Some of the symptoms that I see regularly with PTS patients, I would group under something that I call chronic threat response. It's not a diagnosis, it's just my words that I use to describe this set of experiences, which is, this overwhelming panic that can come over you and kind of ambush you when you're least expecting it. There's surges of irritability sometimes that's associated with trauma, kind of acting out, with your loved ones can be part of how trauma can change relationships with the people we're closest to. There's also this exaggerated startle response that people can feel, and then disrupted sleep. A lot of nightmares and disrupted sleep, intrusive images. So your physiology gets altered with trauma. And with that, your mind, as you said. So difficulties in concentration are part of how trauma can really affect us and is kind of the fifth part of that chronic threat response. So it's like being locked in fight or flight mode, and that has a devastating effect on us over time.
Mhm.
We're talking about caution fatigue. There was an article today about that. Is that somewhat similar to everything that we're talking about, just the always alertness that we're feeling? And I don't think it's new to coronavirus either. I think in this time of political angst too, where people wear their emotions on their Facebook page every single day or their Twitter feed, we are suffering from that. Would you agree?
Yes. I mean, can we be burned out from being worried? Can we just get exhausted from being hypervigilant all the time with an invisible enemy that we can't see? Absolutely. I get there some days. And then I think, the sacrifices I'm being asked to make, whether it's wear a mask or shelter in place, it's nothing compared to the sacrifices that those on the front lines of this battle are being asked to make. Being separated from their families, seeing their colleagues fall ill and die, holding the hands of people that are dying. that didn't have a chance to connect with their loved ones. So the sacrifices we're making are nothing compared to that. That's how I kind of check myself and kind of bring perspective to that kind of fatigue that we feel from being ever vigilant.
Yeah. But what should happen if you have friends or even someone in your home? We have different levels of being vigilant. And so if someone is a little bit more relaxed and they're like, hey, I can't worry about it, I'm just going to do what I do. And you still feel, really tense about the situation. Any tips for that, for navigating, that relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, we have to all navigate that in open and transparent ways. And it's always a question of how do we balance rights? Whose rights are most important? Like, for example, if you have kids and you need help with your kids, like I do, I'm working full time. How do you balance that with the people that take care of your kids? So for us, it's kind of modeled on how we balance healthcare. We go into an ER, we get our temperature checked, we wash our hands. So we kind of agree on certain rules of engagement to help keep the people in our sort of little bubble safe. But it's something that has to be negotiated in a respectful and transparent way. And it's hard. It's really hard to negotiate this in the context of different people's opinions about the level of risk. One of the things I would add, though, is to really think about not just, could I get this? Because that's one of the things that people often say, well, I'm young, I'm healthy, I might, not be affected by this. You have to think 2 steps out. Not could I get this, but could I bring this to somebody I love? Could I contract this and be a carrier for somebody that I love, is really the thought that we should be having.
Absolutely,
right,
Doctor. We can talk about this for hours. There are so many more questions that we can get through, but we're going to have to wrap for now. For more information, if you'd like to reach out and ask more questions, you can learn more about Dr. Shauna Springer's work at stellacenter.com. Doctor, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, it is summer to be sure, with temperatures creeping into the 90s pretty regularly here, and dew points that make you want to sweat. Well, not make you want to, but you do sweat. I was going to tell you about the summer barbecue, but I'll do the weather first, and then I'll give you the barbecue. I think we just lost the Earth Cam downtown. Oh, darn. I can't see it. Anyone else see it now?
There we
it is.
go.
Okay, it's back. Sunny skies mixed with some clouds, very humid out there today. We will get to just about 89, 90 degrees in the suburbs. A little bit cooler near the lakefront. We get some spotty showers here as the afternoon starts, and it will get worse throughout the day. We're expecting more storms as you get later on. We'll all probably get a little something. Could be severe later on this afternoon or this evening. 7-day forecast shows hot temperatures throughout. As we get to a little bit drier conditions, the storm risk will be down for the 3-day weekend, which is great. If you have a 3-day weekend, I should say. The 4th of July is on a Saturday. I know we do. And we'll be in the 90s, which will be hot, but not too humid this weekend. So obviously we're talking about the 4th of July. We're celebrating the summer and the jam barbecue, backyard barbecue. We need your recipes. We're going to make it a party. We're going to be making some honey mustard chicken tomorrow night. So each of us will be picking our favorite recipes. We're going to whip it up. We're going to post the clips over the next few days. We still have time to get your recipes in there. Challenge us. Give us something cool. Your favorite thing to bring. It can be a dessert. It can be a side. It can be something from the grill. Email your summer go-tos to jamrealshy@wciu.com. Today's the last day. You can check out some recipes that are already submitted at cw26chicago.com.
I'm excited. Usually people have some wacky combinations or like wacky things that I wouldn't ever try. And then until you try it, you're like, okay, this isn't that bad. All right, everyone, let's bring in our next guest. Let's welcome in Heather DeMonte and Stacy Amumensa. They run a digital brand identity agency, and they're rolling out a new program to help women whose businesses have been negatively impacted by COVID-19. Ladies, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Sorry, our audio cut out, so we have no idea what you just said. But hi.
Don't worry about it. I gave the
said
best
anything. We got it perfect. It
was seamless. All right, ladies. So let's kick off the conversation. First of all, tell us a little bit about your digital branding agency.
Go ahead. We're both hold our breath. Click is I'm Stacy. This is Heather. I am a graphic designer and illustrator, and Heather is an amazing brand strategist and storyteller. And we've combined our collective talents to create our company, Click Creative. So we build brands that are rooted in strategy and purpose. And
I think our key differentiator is people often think a brand is just a logo, And really a brand is about emotional connectivity. And that's where Stacy and I, we have a background in managing and shaping global brands, but really it's about that emotional promise that your business offers. And so we founded Click with the idea that we really wanted to help small business owners have access to strategy and tools they otherwise probably wouldn't have. And we really wanted to also help women-owned businesses because we are a female-owned business. So really, at the end of the day, of course, when we help a business, we can create their logo, but it always starts with understanding what motivates them, who their customers are, and who they're trying to reach in a meaningful, purposeful way that's differentiated from their competition and really drives their business and helps them grow, but also helps their customers grow. So what happened to us with COVID is 90% of our clients are female-owned businesses. And we saw almost immediately the negative impact it was having on them, both from a financial perspective, a spiritual perspective. And we really, tried to pivot ourselves to help them lean on their brand, discount our services, help them stay afloat. But we talked about it and we wanted to keep our brand promise and really put our arms around a business who could really benefit from having an entire brand plan as they try to rebuild from the impact of COVID.
I'll just interject one thing, but it's really important to us. When we founded Click, we kind of put kindness and empathy and compassion as sort of at the cornerstone of everything that we've done. And when you're empathetic, you kind of feel all the feelings all the time. And it was a lot for us. And we knew that we were in a position, we didn't have millions of dollars to give away like some of the big brands were doing, but we knew that we could use our gifts to help propel other business owners and lift them up in a way that was meaningful and beneficial and felt really good and authentic to who we are as a company as well.
Yes, kudos to you ladies for jumping in there and trying to do something different and help the way you can. I think that's how we all get past this moment is do what you can, people. You mentioned that you have to work on building emotional connectivity to the brand. I wanted you to expand on that a little bit. Like you said, people think it's just a logo, but you're saying it's deeper than that. How do you change?
Yeah, most of our clients, we found that they start to tell their story from the functionality of what they do. And I think it's because they're afraid to really tap into why they do it. They're afraid to be judged. They're afraid maybe their customers won't understand them, when in fact it's the opposite. When you really understand what the emotional promise is that you're offering, you're going to naturally connect with the people that you're trying to reach. Because at the end of the day, purchase choice is really based on emotion. And so once we help our customers identify what their emotional promise is, that's their strategic positioning. That's what's really going to help build their business. Then from there, we build their story and their look, and we always build their story from what they actually say, what they actually feel, and what their priorities are. Now, of course, we massage that with copywriting, and then we build our designs around that. But in the end, what we find is these brands really stand the test of time because it's built on something you can't replicate. And your customers really feel that from you, and it's different from your competition. And it really is meaningful to us, when we present our brand plan in the end after we've gone through our listening tour and our strategy, our customers usually cry. And I think it's because they really see themselves and their purpose and their story, and they see that what they always wanted to say but couldn't figure out quite how. Yeah. And so specifically during this time, there's a lot of people crying for all the wrong reasons. And so we really want to help uplift them and find a deserving business that we can really help change their story so they can reach their customers and they can pivot and become sustainable as they go. And we've been really humbled by so many of the applications that we've been receiving from women-owned businesses. And we wish we could help every single one of them. But there is an opportunity out there to really let women know they're not alone. There's so much creativity and power, particularly in women-owned businesses, that, but they're also at risk. When things like this happen, they're much more vulnerable for losing their businesses much more quickly. Their margins are slimmer. So one of the things we also know is our brand plans really do create financial value over time. And so we really want to help a women-owned business experience that.
Yeah, we always say, we're a smaller agency, but the impact that we have is enormous for small business owners. And we also believe that because we're living it ourselves, you don't have to be a big billion-dollar brand to act like one. And so we're really fortunate that the combination of our two gifts work in such unison together that we're able to provide small business owners the same toolkit that huge brand agencies offer these big global brands at a price point that's affordable, but also in this instance for Brand Aid, gifting this in a way that's going to really help a business owner and sort of help dig them out of the situation that COVID's found them in.
Obviously, a lot of local businesses are in a little bit of trouble without the foot traffic that's been coming through. When you're developing a Brand Aid for like a 12-week plan for them, is there some benefit to kind of leaning into the fact that you're a small business, you're trying to survive, you're trying to make it? Do consumers respond to that? I don't want to say weakness, but to respond to that reality, to the honesty of what this business is.
I think you asked a really important question, and when you're building a brand, whether you're going through a crisis or not, one of the most important things you can do is build trust with your customer base, and you do that through being authentically true to who you are as a brand. So if it makes sense to lean into COVID and wrap your messaging around that, like I think Nike is a powerhouse. They're like the king of emotional branding. We watch a Nike commercial and we're ready to put our shoes on and go, run 50 miles and take on the world. They've really leaned into their brand promise of inspiring all athletes, but they've sort of pivoted that to include all of us as consumers into their fight against COVID. Sort of the whole ad campaign that we're all playing for the world, that we're all playing together. So there's certainly a time for that. It's dependent on each individual business owner. Maybe it's not so much like, I need help, can you please donate this? But maybe it's about figuring out how to connect with your customers on a different level, really show that you're in this with them. And that all comes from the authenticity and just being open and honest and being true to who you are as a brand.
And Stacy brings up a really good point that once you identify that emotional promise, Nike's promise is genuine athletic performance. But that word genuine allows you to really bring to life the emotional promise of your brand, whatever happens. And so many brands don't build into their promise that emotional piece. And so, that's the idea of what we want to first help a business do, is establish what that is. And then how do we bring that to life for them? It's a 12-week program that takes us to develop, but the idea is we develop it in a way that it lasts them forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so cute. You guys were exactly in sync. Now, talking about, this connection with the client, being open with your business, and the positivity that you guys just radiate off my computer screen, you are giving away, you are donating a Brand Aid package. That's the 12-week relief plan for your brand to a woman-owned business that's been negatively impacted by COVID-19. So tell me a little bit about that. How can people apply? A little more info on that.
So I think I'd first like to start by saying, I think one of the reasons we chose a woman-owned business is for an obvious reason, that we are a woman-owned business. And I liken entrepreneurship. It is not for punks. Let me just say that. I liken entrepreneurship sort of like giving birth. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but the end result, once you get through all of it, is extremely rewarding. So we wanted to focus on like-minded people that we could really connect with and really lift up using our gifts. So you are able to apply. You can go to our website. We have a application on our website. I can add it in the notes under our call, but you can go to clickcreative.com. Click is spelled Klique, clickcreative.com/Brand Aid, and it'll take you right to the application. It's really easy to apply. We really, really appreciate you having us on to help us spread the word so we can try to help others. It means a lot to us.
Heather and Stacy, thank you so much, ladies. We definitely appreciate you sharing and doing what you can to reach out. Definitely an inspiration to all of us. As she said, clickcreative.com/Brand Aid is actually where you can get more information if you are a woman-owned business and you want to submit. If you just want to check out some of the things that they're doing, of course, check them out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Pinterest. I'm sure they have some cool ideas up there. I love Pinterest. I'll check that out. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to bring in Brandon Pope here for a little Sports in 60, just like the good old days in the studio. There's that animation. We love it. And Brandon Pope's going to break down a couple stories for us. Poper, those Patriots, man, they always come through with something.
Oh, wow. I'm so happy for Cam Newton. The Patriots have a new quarterback to replace Tom Brady, who went to the Buccaneers. You may remember this new quarterback, former MVP Cam Newton, heading to New England on a one-year deal with up to $7.5 million. That's quite a bargain for the Patriots. You may remember Cam Newton. He was the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. He fought a lot of injury over these past few years. He missed all but 2 games last season with a foot injury, but this is his shot to kind of bounce back. There was not a lot of market out there for him, but he's been signed. And now the best available quarterback now that Cam Newton's been signed is Colin Kaepernick. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the quarterback market going forward.
Okay, now you're trying to spice everything up, Brandon.
I like to add a little spice in there.
Yeah, Cam Newton synonymous with North Carolina. I was there reporting when he tried to win the Super Bowl with the Panthers, but they got there. They went there. I just to see him in New England.
It's going to be weird, right?
And they're saying that he still has to be able to compete with the quarterbacks who are already up first, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll probably be the starter.
Do you think he'll be a starter is the question.
I think so, but I think the big question, though, is his injury. How healthy is he? If he's not 100%, then maybe he won't be.
He says he's good. He says he's 100%.
Well, quite a different quarterback than Tom Brady, though, by the way, we should mention. Completely different. Yeah.
Way different.
So they'll have to do their change up schemes. But Bill Belichick will illegally tape something and figure it out. All right, so you mentioned Colin Kaepernick. Let's talk about what happened over the weekend. NWSL, this was a big moment here. That's Chicagoland native Casey Short and Red Stars captain Julie Ertz. Chicago team, of course, moved to tears by the moment, and we got some allies there kneeling down, but it was a soccer player, a former U.S. soccer player, Alexi Lalas, taking some heat. He apologized after criticizing the team who kneeled. He said in a now deleted tweet that it takes courage to stand for the anthem. He says now that his tweet distracted from the historic moment and powerful moment. This was the first real sports event we've had since, the protest, the George Floyd killing, and it was a really powerful moment. And boy, Lalas really missed the mark with that one.
Yeah, for Alexi Lalas to come out and just be so defiant, right? Was just it missed the mark. And I think where it really the entire soccer community blasted him, and as well as just like everybody in general, but also the women's soccer league quote tweeted him and blasted him as well. Like, come on, bro.
Read the room, dude. Like, come on.
But this is all just so frustrating. We're literally having the same conversation that we had 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick knelt. And the difference is organizations are supporting, businesses are supporting, people are paying attention, because there's still people that feel like Alexi is his name, right?
Alexi, yeah.
There's still a lot of people out there that feel like him and that don't understand. But the difference is that you have all these institutions in power that are now supporting. I just can't imagine. I don't know if Colin Kaepernick is like, really, or if he is like excited that people are coming around.
Yeah, we'll see.
Good to see the public opinion shift, though.
Thanks, Brandon.
Hey, thanks, guys.
I like that. A cute little Jets of sports.
Yeah.
That's cute. Okay, guys. Let us keep it moving. We have a mother-daughter. TikTok stars Bailey and Cruz joining us from Utah. They actually went viral for their Take on the Purse challenge. Let's take a look at that.
Hi guys, my name is Cruz, and we're in the car. We're gonna get a McDonald's, and here you can be my friend.
Let me just grab
Oh, Mom, you knocked Cruzy over.
Sorry.
You came Mom, you hurt Cruzy.
Stop! That's so cute. I've watched that video like 20,000 times. Ladies, how are you?
Good. How are you? Say hi.
All this personality. My goodness. What are you going to do with that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's so funny all the time.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm cool.
All right. I gotta know. I know we didn't see the whole thing there, but what for those that don't know, what is the purse challenge?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's just a challenge that we saw on TikTok. Like when you hit somebody with the purse and see how they react.
That's
So
right.
we just decided to do it with Cruz, and the way that she reacted is so funny.
Yeah, I'm real.
We cut it off, guys. If you guys haven't seen the video, we cut it off at right before she says, she's like, "It's okay, mommy. I know you can do it." And it's just so cute how much personality Cruz has. When did you realize that she was going to be, so out there, so much energy? Because she's
what's so funny is she's always been like that. So like I've always thought she was like the funniest, cutest, smartest girl in the world. Obviously, I'm her mom, but I mean that's just like that video is just so her. And are you gonna ask her a question?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you gonna say? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know. I'm fabulous. Yes, I am. yeah.
Hey, Cruz, can I tell you something?
She can ask you a question.
Cruzy, can I tell you something?
Yep.
I'm a really big fan. Do you know that?
Oh.
I'm a really big fan of you.
Yeah, boy, I have to go for something.
Oh, she gotta look for something. Not much
she's
for fun right there.
They say thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh man, bringing all this joy to us and bringing smiles. What does it feel like to be sharing on the camera?
Do you like making TikTok?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Do you like making dancing?
Yeah, I love making dancing. Yeah, of course. yeah, I know I'm fabulous. Of course, and I'll be the trans enough. Mama, a big fan.
Mama's a big fan.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of you, huh?
Yeah, it's just a tray of Bristol Marst.
So what video is next for you guys? What challenge do you think you're gonna take on?
Well, I ask this question all the time to all the new followers, and they just like the super organic videos. So it's really hard, Chrissy. It's really hard for me to like plan a video. Yes, Chris.
I need to ask him a question.
Okay, go ahead. Ask him a question.
Yeah, a bit of a transition of weeks and over position. And it can be in fairness a Mars and like
Okay, I need you to translate.
What are you saying?
And tweak and works. Well,
He's basically saying that we can't do the trends like her. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
That we're not up there with her.
Yeah, we're not.
Thank you for watching my video.
Well, listen, I think it's way too many queens on this call now.
No.
I'm to ask them more questions.
Well, you're gonna have to learn the lesson that we learned from our producers. They're telling you to rap, girls, so we can't.
Oh.
Yeah, we haven't had it right.
Say thank you.
She's like, no, I'm not done talking.
I know.
That's our response too, usually. No, you guys are adorable. I can't wait to see what you guys have coming up next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I gotta say, if she's 3, good luck with 4.
I know.
Yeah, but
That's amazing. Billy Valente,
going to school.
Billy Valente and Cruz.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing. We'll keep following on TikTok.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, that is a handful.
Yeah.
And John, I
Very
thought
cute.
you were a handful.
Yeah. This is probably shades of me as a 3-year-old, so I shouldn't roll my eyes too much because that was me. So there you go. Hey, last night was the BET. What's up?
No. Go ahead, John. Just cut me off. That's
Oh,
fine.
last night was the
All time.
BET
It's okay.
Awards, obviously done in a very uncertain time and a strange time, but it was awesome. We got to see Jennifer Hudson, and we also saw a preview, by the way, for her in her new role as Aretha Franklin. But first of all, we are welcoming Kendra G. Kendra, how you doing?
Hey, wait, I can't see y'all. Shoot, I did something.
You
Okay,
disconnected us,
we lost
Kendra.
Kendra. We got Leon. Leon, how you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Say hello to
Pretty
Stitch, everybody. What's up?
Oh.
Hey,
He looks unsure about life.
he is.
Right.
He doesn't like being picked up. He gets a little nervous.
Leon, why are you holding him like that, though?
Huh?
Hold him normal. It looks like you're like
Nah, when I hold him normal, he freaks out. See, he likes this. He
Okay.
doesn't like being turned sideways.
Yeah. Kendra, for the first time ever, can't figure out a selfie camera, but we got Kyle too. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm using my phone today. Okay, leave it alone. I'm using my phone today instead of my computer. And I got to say, I haven't seen Leon and Kyle because they work at home. So I haven't seen Kyle's new hairstyle.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, I do not approve of it.
That's okay.
So, if that was part of the discussion, but let me just say that real quick. I don't like it, guys.
What's crazy is I wasn't even thinking about your approval. That's crazy.
Kyle's gonna.
Hey, until we're back in the radio station, I'm not even considering cutting my hair.
He's gonna be popular with all the little kids because he look like Sid the Science Guy right now.
Oh my gosh.
Sid's a science kid.
Leon, where are you? Is this like anime cartoons?
Yeah, I took over my daughter's workspace where she draws and does art because it's looked better. And we got a whole bunch of people up where I normally do it at. So I had to get out the way. So I took over her anime art space. So
okay,
she draws all this stuff behind me. So
let me find out you picked up a hobby.
oh no, this is her. I watch it, especially the adult versions, but for the most part, I just
let that one go by. It could have the joke could have floated by. You had
to reach out and grab that one. No pun intended.
That's another joke, but we'll leave that one there too. All right, so BET Awards last night. It was about a 3-hour ceremony. They awarded 6 awards.
Yeah.
Hilarious. That's like a half-hour per award.
We're not gonna let you get on this call and complain about the BET Awards.
Exactly.
Okay? You're gonna sit there and you're gonna enjoy it for all 3 hours.
I liked it.
John, that's funny. That was funny, John.
That was a good one.
Kendra, go ahead.
No, but it was so kind of interesting how they did it, like to do it virtually. And I wonder if there are going to be other award shows that follow suit because so many are talking about canceling or postponing. But it was great to see J Hud up there. Of course, Meg the Stallion. Did you guys like the performance? Look at your face. Did you guys like it or no?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking Kyle and Leon.
I'll say what we said on the radio this morning. Megan is nice to look at.
Very.
But outside of that,
yes,
whatever.
Lord. Yeah, I had the TV on mute, but I enjoyed that.
Right.
How do you guys feel since you're in music? Because I'm like, again, who are these people? Not like, of course, we know Meg Thee Stallion, we know Beyonce, but do you feel like you know these artists that are getting up here?
Well, I would say yes, because like Roddy Ricch, the baby, who else? Amanda Seales was the host. I mean, we pretty much talk about these people on a regular basis. So very familiar with everyone except for the one Naomi Campbell introduced.
Loner.
Yeah, that artist people don't know. But for me, the BET Awards, being part of the industry, the BET Awards weekend is a weekend in the industry where everybody goes to LA and it leads up to the award show. So I actually was in LA this past week and the vibe was just different. It didn't feel like, our regular, all the celebrities are in town, everyone's catching up with the industry. It's like the industry's family reunion weekend. And for me, that was what was lost. But I thought they did a great job for what they could for the actual show. But I got to defend John. He's right. For a 3-hour show, they didn't show enough awards on television.
Because nobody really cares about the awards.
Right. They care about the experience.
The awards are a reason to have a show.
Right.
No.
It's about the experience, though, as far as the BET was, like Kendra said. So nobody cares who won best rap group. Like, really, Migos shouldn't have won that. It should have went to City Girls. In my opinion, they would have had a group over the summer. As for your question about the artists, I do feel like if we didn't work in the industry, we wouldn't know half of these people. Like, a lot of people wouldn't know who YBN Cordae was if you didn't work in the industry, because they have a select group. Like, a lot of these people are internet made stars. They're not really, it wasn't like a Nas back in the day where you heard the tapes over and over. It's the internet. So the internet creates stars, like the young lady who's the choreographer and the singer. I had no idea who that was.
Right.
And still don't know who she is. But once again, Megan Thee Stallion, the usual suspects that we play on the radio. Yeah, of course we know them. But a lot of these new ones, I don't. I can't keep up with the little.
But just to add to that, though, I actually like the dude Loner, and there's a couple of other guys that are on that section of the show that's sponsored by Nissan. They're all up and coming artists. Like I remember 3 years ago, Anderson .Paak was in that particular segment of artists, and now he is who he is. So I like the fact that we're introduced to some of these guys because even when they were on last night, like me and my daughter like Googled them right away, like, yo, this guy's dope. I like this guy.
Hey, Kyle, you proving my point. These guys, you couldn't name any one of them. You said these guys.
Said we're being introduced to them.
But yeah, I know, but I'm just saying when somebody's hot, like Chris Brown. When Chris Brown first came out, you was like, Chris Brown. Like I remember, as soon as I saw Running video, I was like, oh, he's a star. Like a lot of people, I feel like me or you or everybody, this whole panel right here could make an R&B record, and we could get the same amount of buzz.
Okay, now I gotta throw this out there. I do think age plays a role because even though you mentioned Nas, there's a younger generation who might not be that familiar with Nas. So I think sometimes it's a generational gap. I mean, we're a little bit older, so I can't say that these artists aren't hot. I might just be in a different age category where I'm listening to them on a regular.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, yeah, I mean, I think the value and like the type of music, like Kendra was saying, is changing. My brother's 16. He could name all the babies out there. I only know one of them. You know, I'm not too sure which ones they are. But to this whole visual thing, now for me, I love seeing reactions, right? I like people going like, what the heck is that? And I think I missed that, right? And I wasn't in town this week, so I caught the recap. And, you know, I was kind of like fast forwarding through the awards because I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I don't know, you know, we all kind of talked about it. It's changed and it's kind of scary to know that things are going to be moving like this for the rest of the year.
Yeah, the rest of the year, hopefully not a lifetime, but definitely.
Can I ask a question? What's the new definition of hot then? Like, cause I'm saying, like, I hear people get claimed that they're hot and they literally just, only way you would know them if you was on the internet or on TikTok every day. Their song becomes they become hot because of TikTok. So do we have a new definition of hot in the industry? Because if that standard is, it's a lot of people out here that's hot that we don't know about and live right next door to us.
Because there used to be metrics, right? It used to be how many albums are you selling? How many spins are on the radio? I mean, that was it. And now we don't know. And it kind of varies. And I think that's really where we see this generational gap is because now before was the radio, right? How many spins you were getting, how many albums you're buying. That's the same thing whether you're 15 or whether you're 75. Now we're all using such different actual apparatuses to judge and to see and to consume the music that it's almost so hard now to get a pulse of what it is.
Well, I think your audience determines. Like, prime example, I was very late on the Travis Scott train. And I remember what really made me wake up to Travis Scott. I appreciate him as an artist, but I don't own any of his music. When he came to Chicago, when he had, I want to say 2 or 3 sold out shows at the United Center. And at that time, we had no Travis Scott music on the radio. I said, how the hell is that even possible for him to sell out the United Center? I want to say for sure 2 nights. It could have been 3 nights in a row, and radio wasn't playing him. I think the world has changed. The new audience, they have YouTube, they have their phone, they don't need the media, television, and radio platforms anymore to be hot, because let's just keep it honest. You know, radio sometimes is late on what is hot, and then we have to catch up. So I feel like
Travis is
millions of people supporting your brand. You're undeniably hot.
I think Travis is a bad example, though. Travis was making music with Drake and everybody else, a lot of popular stars. Like for me, it's somebody like Lil Baby. You know what I'm saying? And remember, we had this debate before about Baby or Lil Baby, who was the hottest. And Kendra, you was like, Lil Baby got this and this going because he got the streets. Yeah. Well, I'm saying, but this is my point. Lil Baby was an artist that wasn't getting super hot burn on the radio, not like the Baby was. The Baby was the radio love child. I think Travis Scott was making songs with Drake, Jay-Z, and everybody else, and that's why he got built up. Travis Scott had been popping. I mean, like those artists like. Those artists like YBN Corday, artists like that don't really get radio play. You haven't heard a YBN Corday song, but he's got millions of followers.
But check this
You're gonna
out.
have to continue this. Hold on. You guys are gonna have to continue this debate tomorrow on your show because we are out of time. I'm sorry. I know.
Dang.
Yes, but you, GCI, we always love when you guys stop by. We need to build like an hour and a half when you guys come on in. But let's get the information up for the morning show where people can catch them.
Give us more time.
There it is. There's
more
time.
Kyle said one word.
Yeah, I was about to say something, but then John cut us off. So
it's the hair twist. It's the hair.
It's not a good look for me to be the one to cut off the chat conversation about the BET Awards, but I am. So I'm sorry.
John, is that what you said?
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Oh man. Okay. We never have enough time with them, but always
All right.
a lot of fun.
We love having them on always. All right, let's talk about what else we got. The summer barbecue. Felicia, you want to give that one more go at it?
Get it in really, really quick, you guys. Send us your recipes right now. jamrealshy@wciu.com. Send us that. We want to get your recipes and we want to put them out there for everybody to know, and we want to try them as well. You can get more information at cw26chicago.com.
We'll see you at 2, everyone.
See you at 2.